Hi, you guys. Okay, yesterday we learned that Christopher Columbus took all of his crew members and he started traveling west. Did they run into land right away? No. Were they kind of getting frightened? Yes, they didn't know exactly what was happening. But Christopher Columbus knew that there was land ahead. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, remember those are the ships, were sailing westward under Christopher Columbus's command. They'd been at sea for a long time now. They had entered a part of the ocean in which thick seaweed covered the surface in every direction for as far as the eye could see. This is a good sign, Columbus told the sailors. It may mean that we're nearing land. But then the winds died down to nearly nothing, and the sails hung lifelessly from the masts. 3 ships crept forward and sometimes stopped moving altogether. Each day was like the one before, and the sailors wondered, will we ever get out of this seaweed? Will the wind ever change and come back to us? At last, after days and days, the wind picked up again, and they sailed free of the clinging seaweed back into the open sea. But they were still worried, and the sailors no longer bothered to hide their fear from their commander. When will we find the lands you promised us? They asked Columbus. Soon we will get there. But the sailors were tired and losing hope. They came to him one day and begged to turn the ships around. Give me 3 more days, he said. If we've not seen land by then, we will turn around. But the days passed with no sign of progress. Then, on the 3rd day, a sailor called out, Sir, there's something floating in the water up ahead. Fish it up out of the water, Columbus ordered. Some sailors tossed a net over the side and drew upon what they found. It's a stick, cried one of the sailors. It looks as if someone has carved its sides with a knife. That must mean that there's land ahead and someone is living there, the other sailors said. They cried, You were right, Columbus. Of course, he answered. I never doubted it. But he went into his cabin, closed the door, and got down on his knees to say thank you for this sign. The next day, several sailors saw branches with green leaves floating on the surface of the water. Then the crews of all 3 ships saw a large flock of birds lying overhead. We must be getting close to land, the men cried with great excitement. The birds circled above as if examining the 3 ships, then turned back in the direction from which they had come. Follow them, the birds will lead us to land. Soon the salty breeze began to carry a new scent their way. Could we be smelling the spices of Asia up ahead? The sailor asked, growing really excited. On Thursday, October 11th, Christopher Columbus ordered the ships to drop the anchor, something that they had not done the entire voyage. If we are really close to land, we must be carried by the current up against the shore in the darkness and never know until it's too late. That night, walking the deck of the Santa Maria, he saw a light in the distance. It is too far to come from the Pinta, he said. And that light is too low in the sky to be a star. It must be a fire set by someone on shore up ahead. A few hours later, in the early morning of October 12th, 1492, Christopher Columbus heard the sound of a cannon. It's coming from the Pinta. Remember, the Pinta is the other ship. It's coming from the Pinta, he thought. They must have sighted the land. Waiting impatiently, as the early light of dawn increased, he stared ahead until he saw the sailors on board the Pinta had seen, a long, low shore on which the ocean waves were smoothly breaking. The men of the Pinta were cheering, and a moment later, cheering broke out on the Nina and the Santa Maria. If you look really close, you can see that they're cheering because of this. Dressing formally for the occasion and carrying a long flagpole bearing the flag of Spain, Columbus and some of his men rowed over the waves in a small boat to the shore of this new land. Stepping out into the water, Columbus led his men ashore. By his calculations, Columbus believed he had landed in the land of Asia. Then he put the flagpole down and he said, On behalf of their majesties, I, Christopher Columbus, claim this land and all that it is in it for Spain. Remember, Spain is the country where the king and the queen Isabella are running their... Spain is the land where the queen and the king lived that sent Christopher Columbus on the voyage. Christopher Columbus sank to his knees. His men fell to his knees around him, and they all were so grateful. His sailors grinned, thinking of the wealth that would soon be theirs. Okay, he finally made it to land. After many, many days. Do you think all the sailors were so happy? I do. Shore, they made it to shore, okay? Shore means that it's a land along the edge of a body of water. So the shore is all this dirt right here and sand that's next to the water. I'm going to tell you an activity, and if you can do it at the shore, then you can say shore. If not, you can say not a shore. Making sandcastles at the beach. Can you do that at the shore? Yes. Crossing a desert on a camel. No, not a shore. Standing on the sand, throwing pebbles or shells into the water. Shore. Running away from the waves and back to the land. Shore. And climbing a tree into the forest. No, that's not a shore activity to do. Okay, so they found land, and I'm so excited to tell you next time what exactly they saw on the land, okay?